we had like 10 polls. Last year was 100, and this year was 200. We try and be a customer-driven company. We don't just want to put a camera on site and that's the end of it. Have everything automated where, like, we've got our onboarding form. We're receiving payments a lot quicker now, almost instantaneously. I think everyone wants a quick way of making money, and a 4-year apprenticeship is not that quick way. But at the end of the day, you will make good money for it.
As a business owner, what do you want to see to make it just super easy for you to go, yeah, I'm going to hire him?
Look, I don't care whether you...
Tradies never cease to amaze me, and in this episode I talk with Jarryd from building site CCTV, who's been able to scale his business exponentially over a very short period of time. But it hasn't been all smooth sailing. We talk about his humble beginnings, the difficulties of scaling so quickly, and what technology he's implementing to keep up with all of this work that's coming in the door. He's also got some tips for tradies that want to scale their business and apprentices that may want to get into the industry. I had heaps of fun chatting with Jarryd, and I reckon you're going to get heaps of value. Now straight into the podcast.
Jarryd, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You bloody legend.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
So you own and operate now 2 security businesses.
Correct. Yeah.
What is the coolest, probably not the coolest, but the biggest robbery or something like that you've seen in your whole career, or break-in or something like that?
Geez, I'll be honest, the only thing I can think of is probably building sites that have been broken into over times. Doing security, in the whole time I've been doing it, I don't think I've actually had a customer that's been broken into after we put security in. A lot of our stuff's after basically the fact. So after they've been broken into, they go, "Oh, we need security." And that's
Gotcha.
probably the time. That's so we go and put it in. Chances of lightning striking twice is hopefully not common. So there's nothing that's really super big. We did a lot of work during, especially the alarms and cameras and stuff, during a lot of those home invasions, probably back in maybe 2019, 2018, when all the gangs were going around the barrack areas and stuff like that. So we did a whole heap of stuff. Yeah. And that was probably, they would have been probably the biggest, because I was stealing cars. That was the common thing they did. But there's been nothing that is, sorry, it's a very boring answer. It's super. I was
expecting something really cool.
Big banks or big heists or something like that.
Yeah.
There's just been nothing because, hopefully by the time we put security in, it does its job and it doesn't happen anymore.
Is there a lot of prevention on the front end? Like, why would somebody, now you've got security in, do you think it's just enough for people to see a flashing light on a house or something like that? Is that?
Yeah, look, I think CCTV has probably been the biggest impact because, especially now, like CCTV comes with an alarm system built into it.
Yeah.
The clarity, you get 24/7 color cameras, day and night, none of that grainy footage anymore. It's, 4K footage we're talking about now with a lot of the systems. So I think deterrent with security is the biggest thing. It's all about deterrent. If people want to break into your house, you can have the best security system known to mankind. If they really want to get in, they will get in. That's just the reality behind it. What we're trying to do is stop the opportunistic people, the opportunistic ones that, they basically do 99% of the crime.
Yeah.
They're the really ones we're trying to stop.
Yeah, okay.
So very much deterrent based.
So we've alluded to the fact that you do CCTV and a bit of security. Why don't you go all the way back, break it down to when you started your first business and then how you got into the CCTV space beyond that?
Sure. So I actually started working for my dad, who is in the security industry, had a business for like 30-something plus years. So I started working for him a little bit after I'd finished school. Obviously, I've worked on school holidays and stuff, so I've pretty much been doing security for most of my life. And then some other company, Rangers Alarms, I started that up, and I think it's 10 years this year. So 2014 was when I actually started it up. And I registered the name Rangers because I was really trying to pick up work in the Dandenong Rangers. That was the whole point behind the name.
I like it. Great SEO.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to do. I was trying to pick up a bit of work behind, closer to home because I was basically sick of driving, downtown for Dad's work. So I still had every intention of basically we pick up that work. We'd still do it through Dad's company and all that. But then I spent a lot of time working on my website, same thing, and try and pick it up. And I basically picked up every suburb that I wanted to work in and I would create its own separate page for it through the website. So I learned how to do that. It was the Easter weekend, probably around the 2014, 2015. And I did such a good job that the business like boomed, literally almost from like day one of being able to, I don't know if it's really cheating Google or whatever I did, but being able to do that, I was basically at the top page on Google for, you could search any suburb, alarm systems, Berwick, boom, Rangers Alarms will come up on the first page.
So you figured that out yourself?
I did, yeah. I worked that out myself. And the only reason I worked it out was because I thought, if I'm looking for a service, what do I do? Well, if I'm looking for a service where I live, I'm going to search whatever that service name is and the suburb and try and find anyone close enough to me. So, and I was lucky at that point in time, no other company had really caught on to that. They hadn't done it. So, especially in the security industry anyway. So I was able to literally come on the first page of Google under any suburb that I'd created a page for.
So you just took a template of security systems for Croydon, security systems for Kilsyth, and you would literally just duplicate that, change out the heading, and that was pretty much it?
Change out the text inside that would say, I'd replace Kilsyth with Bayswater, Knoxfield, whatever, for the next suburb, and that was it. So it was literally the same content on every single page. There was nothing different. And the reason I did that was because if I made something different, I didn't want to have to go back through and change it. So I had no price or anything like that on there. It basically would link to my services page, which included all the pricing. And look, I was only using it as a way to try and get local work. I wasn't expecting it to turn into what it did. Because it's like Google, I didn't think I was going to actually really achieve much. I thought I'd pick up the odd job here and there, and that was it. But we did a few bigger commercial jobs, which is kind of strange thinking back that was one of our main, our first jobs we did was some commercial stuff. And the rest is history from that part. We picked up work.
I just want to stop.
Yeah.
So, I'm out of a job. If you're doing stuff like this, you figured that out yourself. Do you know what that's technically called when you do that?
No, I got no idea.
No idea. So that's called programmatic SEO. So basically creating a template, duplicating that. For local SEO, for someone like yourself, is absolute gold.
Yeah.
So part of what I'll do if I go into somebody's website and we want to sort of, boost up their local rankings, we'll do exactly what you did. You did it without knowing any of this. You just intuitively knew that was something that you could do.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Now,
that's crazy.
I was under the impression that was cheating Google, and they would be like frowned upon that. They would rank you really bad, but it just never happened.
No, and in fact, a lot of local businesses, that is how a lot of SEO agencies will actually boost your local rankings.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh,
straight up, awesome.
Should have gone into web design instead.
Mate.
Bit of SEO.
Internal linking, your internal linking as well. I'm just thinking, geez, this guy's got it sorted. Unreal. Sorry, I interrupted. Keep going.
That's all good. So started doing a bit of work, obviously, for homes and stuff like that too. Picked up a lot. Eventually, I had too much work that I actually went out of my own. So everyone says, it's a bit weird you went in competition against your dad. And it was all good, doing different jobs and stuff like that. So, then put on my first employee, and then after that, put on a few extras.
So now you're just with 100% Rangers Alarms at this stage still?
Yeah, 100% Rangers Alarms.
When did we transition from Rangers to building site CCTV?
Yeah, years I got no idea, because that whole COVID stuff was a bit of a blur. So I think it was around the COVID time, and it sprung from a job we did up my way in Emerald. We did a commercial building that was getting built there, and they wanted a site CCTV, so they wanted something to keep an eye on the place. At that point in time, we'd worked in conjunction with the Sparkies that were on the site, and we set up a powered system. So it was basically 2 cameras, pole, no backup battery. So it was literally someone went and flicked the power off, your cameras would drop out, but it had a 4G modem. So we'll call that the very, very initial building site system.
Yeah.
Didn't have a name for the company or anything like that. It was nothing like that. It was literally just a system through my company, Rangers Alarms. And that worked really well. It was, a good little entry into it. And then the solar stuff came about because we had a builder that contacted us, Andrew, from Home Lifestyle Solutions. He was the man that basically started the whole thing, because he called me up and said, I want a solar CCTV system. He'd used a couple other companies, and he said, it's just not doing it for us. We want to buy one. And at that point in time, no one was selling the systems. And I said, look, we're looking at doing something like this. We'll see what we can do. So being able to roll them out onto live sites. And like, don't get me wrong, it was a lot of work because the first initial system, we made a lot of stuff up.
Yeah.
Things like, choosing the wrong modem. We needed one that would obviously be suited to conditions because it's inside a steel box, pretty much. It's solar, so we need to make sure it doesn't draw power. We bought cheap solar panels. We bought a cheap solar control, all that kind of stuff. So the very first one, we would have made no money out of it at all. And it wasn't necessarily the point of making money, but we were able to then develop a system and obviously spend quite a large amount of money on that system to try and get it working. But then we were able to develop a system that we then started rolling out. So I think it was around 2019, 2020 thereabouts when we started building site CCTV. And look, the name, obviously, it seems very simple. What do you do for a job? Well, we do building site CCTV. So that's where the name came from.
Yeah.
And then it became its own company a couple of years later on.
Yeah, okay. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about the technology? You obviously, I've spoken to you previously, you're really into the technology side and how robust your product is as well. So just give us a rundown on exactly what you're providing now from that minimum viable product that you had several years ago to where you've gotten to right now.
Yeah, so our product we use all branded, equipment. So we use for all our solar stuff, and there's no secrets about what we use. We use Victron, and look, I'm sure a lot of companies use the same. It's because they're a really good brand when it comes to solar.
Yeah.
So we can get cheaper panels off online and things like that, but we've got really good wholesalers. They give us good pricing. We buy in bulk, so we can get a really good product for cost effective when it comes to building them up. So technology-wise, like the batteries, we've tried a lot of different size batteries, and ours are probably maybe a little bit over-engineered compared to some of the others out there, and that's just because we want to make sure the product is reliable.
Is it about reliability, but also about downtime? So you want to make sure you've got
we want no downtime.
Yeah.
That's it's at the end of the day, it's a security system. If it's like having your home security, if your home security is switched off every couple of days, what's the point of having it?
It's
You
useless,
can almost guarantee you'll get broken into in those couple of days.
Yeah.
So for us, it is very much, and that's part of the reason why we've got a team now that if there is a camera does go offline, we can send people out to check and see what's going on. Majority of the cameras that go offline are because they've been damaged, knocked over, things like that. We're very lucky that we don't have a lot of equipment malfunction. With that being said, it is still technology.
Yeah, exactly.
You can still get a camera locking up. Our biggest issue is mobile carriers. As I mentioned a bit earlier, that's the thing. There's two things we really can't control, and it's phone providers and solar. We can't.
The sun.
When the sun comes out,
It's going to go down.
Yeah, exactly. Every company that does solar, even the ones that do your home solar and stuff, said last year was the worst year for solar. And
was it really?
It really was. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Well, I think we had 3 and a bit weeks of just cloud. It was nothing. Now we were very lucky. We had, because we knew what was happening. Our systems are sort of designed to run basically 6 to 7 days without a single bit of sun. So they could literally have no solar panel connected. 6 or 7 days, that's ideally what we do them, because even Melbourne, not the best weather, but we should get a little bit of sun.
Yeah.
So all we need is really half a day of sun, and systems back up, charges, we're all good.
So you mentioned you didn't have to do the whole fleet.
Yeah.
Where are you at now with the number on your fleet?
Yeah, so we've got 210 actually 211, I think ticked over the other day, rental poles.
Just a couple.
Yeah, just a few. Yeah, just a couple. Yeah, just a couple.
Wow.
So when we first started, I had zero interest in hiring them out. It wasn't. I just wanted to sell them. That's all I wanted to do.
That's hilarious. Wow.
And then we obviously had people who were like, I don't want to buy them. I just want to rent them. I don't want the hassle of having to replace cameras, in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, whatever. I just want to be able to rent them, which we got no issues with. So then we started, and we had 10 poles, and then all of a sudden we had a pretty big growth. It grew to sort of 50, 60 poles pretty quickly, and then last year was 100, and this year was 200.
That's insane, mate.
And we've sold. We sort of tried to work it out. We've sold about 300 poles as well. So we're still a little bit high with the sales.
Wow, I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
That's a
Since the
big part
start,
of the
it's
business.
a big chunk. Yeah, it really was. We probably do in the last maybe 3 to 4 months. We've obviously actually done a lot more rentals, but sales is a big thing, and it's because people just don't want the ongoing costs, which is part of the reason why we started selling them. We were one of the first to do it. So when we first started, we advertised that we sold them, and within like 2 to 3 months, some of the bigger companies decided they'd do the same thing because obviously they realised that was a lot of people want to buy them. They don't want the ongoing costs. They just want to be able to buy them, move from site to site themselves. Job done.
Wow.
With that being said, even our purchase polls, they still get the same support from us, whether they rent from us or purchase. Like, it doesn't bother me in the long run. So if they call us up to change their zones, the intrusion zones, or they're having problems using the app or whatever, they still call us up. We don't charge for it. It's just a standard part of the service that we give them.
That led into my next question, was that if you're a building site and you're a foreman, you've bought one of these poles, the servicing boys, obviously they're going to contact you.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what type of services do you offer for that? Or like you said it was free for the most part? Is it
Yeah,
right?
so the remote changes, like if we have to log in and change any settings or anything like that, or help them set it up on their phones or whatever, that's free. We don't charge for any of that. If we have to physically come out to site, then that's when we obviously charge a service call.
Fair
So
enough.
we also offer a reinstall. So we'll pick it up from your existing site and we'll take it. We'll usually bring it back here. We'll charge up the batteries, give it all clean, and put some new stickers on it, make it look nice, and then we'll move it to your next site for you as well. So we still get recurring income from that as well because it depends on the builder, but every 6 to 12 months we'll be moving those poles around. It also means that we can extend the life of the poles too when we've got control over charging the batteries, making sure that they're all the solar panels are cleaned and all that kind of stuff. It extends the life for whoever the builder is or whoever's bought it from us.
You mentioned at the beginning, like, prevention is the best type of
Yeah.
way to stop people. Do you typically see building sites call you before these robberies happen?
It does.
Yeah, so
Look,
they're already onto it. They
very
know.
much so. Yeah, a lot of builders now, as soon as they do their temp fencing and they do their site CCTV, site toilet all at the same time. That's the three things that they put on the site before the build even starts.
That's
And it's for a lot of people, it's not just security; it's a lot of project management. So you think of like your big companies. If you might have one site manager that's in charge of 15 to 20 different sites. He or she can't physically go around to 20 different sites in a day. It's just not possible. They can't log in. They can't check to see whether the gates are closed at night time, whether the trades are there, whether anyone's there, what's going on. Whereas when they've got it on their phone, they can literally be sitting in their office. They can look up and go, yep, this site, oh, gate's closed, excellent. Yep, gate's been locked, perfect. Oh, that front door open, we better go and get someone there to close it again. Things like that. From a project management tool, it's excellent. So it's not just security, it offers everything.
Can we do the reveal on one of your new products yet, or is that?
Yeah, so we've got a new product coming out, which is a PT camera. So basically pan and tilt, so the camera can be moved from the phone. So we're solely looking at aiming this towards the project management side of things, less of the security, and it will literally be a same thing, solar powered system, mobile connectivity. So site manager can log in, they can move the camera around so they can see who's parked on the street. They can check out the house. If it's a big property, they can obviously move the camera around from their phone. So yeah, that'll be launching in a couple of weeks' time, which will be really good.
And the benefit of this one is that it's full 360.
It is. You can
go
spin around
everywhere.
360. Exactly. You can go up, down, left, right, whichever way you want to go. So you can actually move it yourself. So our other systems are all fixed, and we do that for a reason because the problem is when you get broken into, if you have a camera you can move, it is never looking in the position that you want it to look into.
Exactly.
When you get broken into, it'll be looking at the road or a door or something like that. So for our security side of things, very much fixed. That way we set the cameras up so that they see the whole site so that we know we're not going to miss anything.
Yeah.
Whereas this one will solely be aimed at project management tool. So as I said, site managers can check in at the end of the day and make sure that the gates are being closed, and they can actually physically spin around, check the gate, check the door, check the garage, things like that. Make sure there's no trades still on site.
You mentioned over 200 poles. So this is a leading question. I know the answer, but how are you managing all of these poles? And how were you previously, and how are you now managing them? How about
Yeah, so previously we were using some software which is designed for probably your coat tie, Kennard tie kind of companies. Not really, and that's probably the hardest thing. Not tailored for what we do. So our systems are completely different to your coats. We've got multiple different products and things like that. So as you'd be aware, we moved to Trade Magnet. I think started this year. I think it was. Yeah, did the.
It was, yeah.
setup
It's been
start
a while
this
now,
year.
yeah.
It's been going really well. So we moved to Trade Magnet, and the reason why was because we really wanted a system where we had everything in one. So previously we were using like a hire system. We were using a scheduling system which was completely independent and separate. To send out our hire agreements or our hire contracts, it was a Word document or it was a PDF. We had to send to people, get them to fill it out, print it out, things like that. And that's great and fine if you are a smaller company where you've only got 20, 30 polls, things like that. When you're trying to when you've got 200 polls, that's not only 200 or 200 sites that you've got polls on, but it's also new inquiries coming through. It's recurring invoicing, so it's the invoices have to be sent out obviously every single month. And we've got Megan, who's one admin. It's very hard for one person to do all that. So that's obviously when we needed to get a different system, and we're just lucky that you were mentioned and came on board and helped us really get the software, and the system's great because we've got everything's in one, like every single thing. For our point of view, it's probably a lot more of a professional image for us too, being able to have everything automated where like we've got our onboarding form. So the customer, it's so good.
Usually
It is.
such a simple part of the business, and I remember making it going, this is so cool.
It is honestly, because obviously I see when the contracts get signed, I get an email from them, things like that. And we've been able to capture everyone's information properly. So previously we were relying on people to fill it out. Now, everyone has different handwriting. And sometimes it is very difficult to read the handwriting, whereas now we don't have that issue. Everyone just fills it out online. They fill out all the details. It's been probably, the most simplest change, but the most impactful for us.
Yeah.
Because then as soon as we've captured all those details, we can then send them out their hire contracts. Same thing, click of a button, they've signed the contract. So it's sped up the process a lot too.
Yeah.
But it's also taken out a lot of the trouble from the back end. So a lot of the admin side where everything had to physically get done. But now it's all done basically a click of a button, which is made it a lot easier for us and a lot more efficient for us running the business too, because now can spend a lot more of our time on customer service, which is what we try and be a customer driven company. We want to put out a product that our customers like. Same thing, we want to give them the support. We don't just want to put a camera on site and that's the end of it. We don't want to hear from you again.
Yeah.
If customers have problems with the apps, we want them to ring us and help us out. And by freeing up a lot of time, we can take more phone calls and things like that.
And as far as revenue capture is concerned, because I remember when we were building out the automations, we decided that we would separate that service call and see whether we could capture that up front, get some revenue in the door.
Yeah.
I know I've been seeing some of the payments come through. How has that changed? Is like the barrier to entry for customers now is that they can just pay straight online. You've got your payment for service call and then you run straight into a scheduling for your invoicing, yeah?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. So, when the hire contract's sent, it automatically sends them an invoice for that install fee. So we have a Melbourne Metro's $160 install fee or install and setup. We don't do the removal fee, so it's just a one-off. So they pay that straight away. Obviously an excellent thing because that's, helps with cash flow straight away.
Yeah.
And then obviously once the system's installed, it then starts a recurring invoice for a month-to-month basis.
And we're starting to, just from yesterday, Megan started doing the Google review automation as well. So we're hoping to see a heap more of those come through.
It'd be good. Look, we get a lot of really good reviews, which is excellent. We're always happy to get critical ones too if we do, but we don't get them. So whether it's just people, our customer base, some of them have been with us since we started. So we're talking like 3 years ago now. I think it is 3 and a bit years ago is when they first come on board using our product.
Yeah.
We've got government departments. Some of our biggest companies are government contracts and things like that. So we must be doing something right if they keep using us. Because otherwise there's plenty of other options out there in this now, especially the solar CCTV. The industry's certainly grown. And there's so many more products out there now. Like you just do a Google search and you'll see there's 30 pages full of different systems out there. Not all of them are equal, obviously, but hopefully we seem to be doing something.
I often find with Google reviews, like at the point of sale is when they're most likely to actually go and leave a review.
Yeah.
So we've tried to make it easy as possible on the technical side of it.
Yeah.
But I think also it doesn't hurt to have your guys on the ground as well asking for reviews and stuff like that. So
Yeah, look, definitely not. It's obviously, and I don't understand the SEO side of things when it comes to Google and how the reviews work.
you do. You did.
Well, apparently I do. Yeah, apparently I do without even knowing about it. But my understanding is that reviews obviously help you rank higher, and because they like that kind of stuff. So I think the reviews are great. We didn't really capture them beforehand. We had a few reviews left from customers, and obviously that was we're really appreciative of that. And a lot of, as you said, they were probably initially, we had a couple leave reviews just after the install had been done, or I think there was a couple more that had done it at the very end. Once we actually picked up the poll, they were that happy with the service, they decided to go and leave a review, which is really good because we obviously didn't push for any of that. So it's nice that people really appreciate what we do. And even like Megan will get a whole bunch of emails, once we picked up polls. Oh, thank you so much for the service. Really appreciate, thanks, Matt, whichever one did the install, was really good. And the feedback we get from the guys and from customers is exceptional.
I was just speaking to a guy that I'm building a website for. He said, I got a heap of reviews from DMs in LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, they are gold. If we can screenshot that, because how organic does that look? If someone's genuinely reaching out to you. So I think a lot of those testimonials you see on websites, I'm guilty for it. It's on my website too, just the Google review ones or whatever it is. I think some of those can be super powerful too. So even screenshots of an email, like could you imagine the power of that when you see that on a website? So I think it's just jumping to mind now. So okay, so you've got 2 security businesses.
Yeah.
Right. You've now got a really fast-growing CCTV business.
Yeah.
For your polls. You're obviously doing something right. This doesn't happen by accident. And I know that you do a lot of self-development.
Yeah.
Yep. So what would you recommend to someone, a tradie, for instance, is stuck in their business, and do you suggest that they go out and start doing a bit more self-development? And what exactly would that look like, do you think?
Yeah, probably. It was probably a bit stale, like in the business for a few months. So I got a business coach, which I think was a really, really good idea. Amy's great. It's kind of like having another business partner.
Yeah.
Because being in business by yourself, there's no one you can go to. There's no one you can ask questions for, and things like that. I'm lucky. I've got a lot of friends who have businesses and things like that too. But the business coach is there to definitely push me that extra little bit further, and even to give you something super simple. We've just added another employee, another guy that's going to join us on Monday. That's going to be on the road, and I was humming and ahhing about doing this. And in my session, I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, I said that to Amy. I said, look, I'm not sure what exactly I should do. Should I put another admin on to try and build up a bit more work, or should I put another tech on and then we build up the work once we've got it, so we can obviously better service our customers? And she broke it down into super simple terms and made it really easy. And I went, yep, excellent. So we need to put another tech on first. And it's just, it's things like that, things that I haven't thought about. So that would be my first thing, is to, if you don't have a business coach, and look, not everyone likes business coaches, not everyone needs one or wants one in their industry or anything like that. But for me, it really helped me. It helped me develop the business, helped me expand the business, and probably have that confidence that it can actually happen, that we can expand the business. Because I was always super fearful about, I didn't want to grow big, and obviously having employees, I don't want to have a business that all of a sudden has no work, and then they can't put food on their table and things like that. So I'm always someone that will look at all the risks, and then make a judgment, or a decision on that. And so, yeah, Amy's just good to help me out with that kind of stuff. So business coach. The other thing is podcasts. That's as we said before.
Podcast.
Love podcasts. That's all I listen to. I'll listen to Fox FM in the morning until about 9, and then I'll chuck the podcast on. And that's because I do a lot of driving. As I drive around during the day, I'll listen to a whole bunch of different podcasts. Most of them are regarding business, so it's very boring. If anyone jumped in my car, I do apologise for that. But it's mainly just I like hearing people's stories about how they made their money, how they built their business up. One that I listened to and I got hooked on it was the owners of Stacks. So the athletic brand, they sell like your gym activewear and stuff like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And listening to how they started, how they from the very beginning basically almost went broke and then built it up from that. I love hearing those stories about how people just had the balls to take a risk and they made something of it.
Yeah.
So I do find the podcasts are always good to listen to and great to get that bit of motivation to expand your business a little bit.
Now, something that I'm passionate about is apprentices in the industry. And part of why I started my business was because if I could help other tradies expand their business through technology, then hopefully they've got the bandwidth to either take on apprentices or just get employees that can, better the industry as a whole. How have you found the next generation coming through, or just hiring in general? Is it being tricky? Because I hear this a lot from people. It's like the next generation, they're lazy. All they want to do is make money online. All this type of stuff. Like, where do you see the trade industry kind of going for that next generation?
Yeah, I think, it is a struggle because there is, I think everyone wants a quick way of making money. And a 4-year apprenticeship is not that quick way. But at the end of the day, you will make good money for it. Think about an electrician. You can do your 4-year apprenticeship. Yep, pays not actually that bad, to be honest with you. From what I was getting paid when I first started, it's actually pretty good now. But you do 4 years of hard work, and then you have so many options after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can run your own business. You can go work for one of the big companies. You can go on commercial, EBA rates, all that kind of stuff. So I think if you want to be a tradie, 4 years is your apprenticeship you got to do, and it's gonna suck for those 4 years, but at the end of it, it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
On the hiring part, it is very hard, and I don't think it matters what industry you're in. I think it is very hard to find staff at the moment and employees. I don't know what the answer to it is. My personal thing is, and my guess, I think a lot of the government projects have taken up a lot of the workforce.
Okay.
Because you've got like these crazy wages coming. Like you can get as an apprentice on an EBA site or a government project, you're getting crazy amounts of money.
Yeah.
What qualified guys would normally get. So I think that has very much sucked out a lot of the market and a lot of the younger people because they, as I said, they want to make the money. And that's one way to make the money, and that's fine. The issue is going to be what happens when all these projects stop, which we know they're going to because basically there's no money.
Yeah.
So what does happen when those projects stop? What happens to all those workers that have been working for crazy amounts of money? Are they going to be happy going back working for someone else for, back to a regular wage basically?
Yeah.
So I think from that perspective, it'd be very interesting to see what does happen. But like we had for our position, we just had advertised on Seek. We had 45 applicants that had applied for it.
Wow.
Which is it's not bad. With that being said, probably 85% of those were internationals that were looking for sponsorship and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
So there's a lot of people that are trying to come across to Australia that want some sponsorships.
Wow.
That would be very much. And funnily enough, we've actually the guy that we've got coming, Ben, starting Monday. He is from the UK. But he's across here. He's been across here since November, and obviously looking for a full-time job and got experience. He's actually a qualified Sparky over in the UK.
Legend.
So he's coming across here to gonna work for us, which would be good.
So what would you recommend if you're because I get this question a lot. If you're an apprentice or you're looking at getting into a trade, as a business owner, what do you want to see on a job application? I say to make it just super easy for you to go, yeah, I'm going to hire him. Like, what would the ideal candidate look like on paper?
Yeah, for our kind of stuff, look, I don't care whether you finished year 12. It doesn't bother me in the least. I couldn't care if you dropped out in year 9 because at the end of the day, I don't think that has any bearing on what kind of employee you are.
That's so funny. When I I reckon that's a huge myth, isn't it? That you have to go on, finished year 12, do all that stuff.
100%. Look,
Yeah.
I did year 12. I shouldn't have done year 12.
Same
I
here,
wasn't good
yeah.
at school. It was literally just, I just used it as like to socialise. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Had zero interest in school. I could have left in year 10, probably even realistically year 9 if I wanted to.
Agreed, yeah.
And still achieve the exact same thing.
Exactly.
I think, and I had a couple of guys I went to school with, they like left in year 10, they started their apprenticeship. So they were, by the time I'd finished school, they were already 2 years into their apprenticeship.
Crazy.
Yeah, they were qualified. And I think there's a lot to be said for, and it's probably not really the ideal to say it, but, for those that want to do a trade, yeah, you can leave in year 10. In the year 10 you can leave. I think it is good to have year 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think schooling is really is that big of a thing. So I personally wouldn't look at that. For me, I just want someone that's keen, someone that really wants a job. We're like really lucky. We have probably a really what would the word be? We're probably a lot more laid back here.
Yeah.
So because we're such a small team, it's not like everyone's like you're not a number. You're actually a really, really important part of the team. And I know that you basically you work to live, you don't live to work. This is a job. Shouldn't be someone's life. It's my life because it's obviously my business. It has to be. But I don't expect any of my employees it to be their life, and it shouldn't be either. They should have a life outside of this. So, we're a relaxed working environment, and I think that's a really important thing how you can attract people.
Yeah.
Where you're not just a number.
Yeah.
And obviously, if someone's coming in to do an interview, you can always tell. Like when we interviewed Ben on Monday, the first 5 minutes, we knew he was a perfect fit for us.
Yeah.
And we had a couple of others that we were going to interview, and there wasn't a need because as soon as you get the perfect candidate, you go, yep, excellent, they're done.
Yeah.
And it was because he was outgoing, he was friendly, and that's what we want, someone that's friendly. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are dealing with the customers. They're the ones that are representing the business. So we need them to be friendly to our customers because that's how obviously we're going to be able to make money and keep going. Our customers are the most important part of our business.
Yeah. It's probably why I've written down in here, one of your employees, you probably guess, has written down, Jarryd is the best boss.
that would be Megan, yeah.
So I think as we're moving away from traditionally, I think what some existing trade businesses look like where you get to work at 7, you go home at 3:30, you have your half-hour break.
Yeah.
In between that, it's just like, let's work, let's get it done. When I started my apprenticeship, it was very much like that. And credit to my boss, he was a single bloke and, he wanted to go out and change the world with his business, which is fine.
Yeah.
But that's what drew me apart from the domestic world is because it was just so cutthroat. There wasn't any give. It was like, just keep getting in there. So I think it's a changing world at the moment, and I think you need to be flexible if you're a business owner.
I think you do.
Something like that.
Look, to attract good employees, 100%. And I can say my team are 100% the best.
Yeah,
every one of them, they are the reason why we grow. And we all have this common goal because it's like we're still semi-startup, obviously in early stages. It's really exciting for the whole team to see it grow, and that's why when we hit 100 rental poles, we all went out for lunch just to celebrate.
Awesome.
And we'll probably do the same thing, to celebrate the 200 poles, because the success that we get, it's not because of me. I have very little to do with the business, and 100%, I will get calls from customers because I have obviously the business phone over night time, and I know what goes on in the business, but I'm not over every single little detail or what the guys are doing every day, because at the end of the day, that's not my job. They're the ones that know all that. They are the business. So without them, business 100% would not be what it is today.
Yeah.
And that's the reality behind it. Where we are situated now, if I didn't come physically into the office for 3 weeks, nothing would change.
Yeah.
Not a single thing. And that's obviously how I want it to be.
Well, it's a credit to you too, because you've been able to set it up that way. Yeah.
Yeah, look, yeah. I have but I think that's based around the team. That's based around Megan runs the whole admin show. People can call me about, paying bills and accounts and stuff like that. I 100%, and it's not just a lie, I have zero understanding, or I don't know who owes money. I don't know who pays their bills when they pay their bills. Just plain simple, I don't, that's, the whole admin stuff is Megan's domain. Even the scheduling and things like that, 100% all on Megan. She looks after all that.
She does an
And
awesome
same,
job.
does an excellent job. And the guys, they do the installs.
Yeah.
They put the poles in the right spots. They set them all up. They teach customers how to use them. That's the same thing, all on them. I'm not there to micromanage them. Not there to watch over them. Anyone that comes and works for me, they have the license to do their job and make the job as big or as little as they want.
I love it. Okay, so you've got the right team, you've got the right systems in place, and you've got the right product. Where do you see yourself or Building Site CCTV moving in the next year, 5 years?
That's a very good question. We obviously still want to build up our rental. So, like 200 poles, honestly, is nothing compared to some of the bigger companies out there. Like some of them would probably have thousands. So we're taking a little bit of the market share, but we're not anywhere close to what we probably can. For us, we want to try and reach. We've got a couple of more government departments that are coming on board that are really keen on our product. They've been trialing it and stoked with it. So that's part of what we're looking at rolling out next. We've got some more products that we're planning on rolling out as well. As for where we'll be in 12 months' time, it's a very good question. We've employed 2 people now in less than 12 months. We're talking about sort of 8 months. So I'd say we'll probably add to the team a little bit more in another 12 months, mainly from probably the admin side, the back end. Just same thing, to be able to support our customers a lot better.
Yeah.
So that's probably the next step. 5 years, I don't even know what's going to happen in the industry in 5 years.
It's tricky, isn't it? It's a tricky question.
Especially with technology and stuff like that. Like, you don't even know where we're going to be. Like, we're probably lucky. We're not going to be in a position where all of a sudden someone will bring out a product and that's it. We don't exist anymore. I don't think we'll get, because, security changes on a regular basis. I don't think we'll have that issue. Same thing with like cameras. Like, we're now looking at 4K 8 megapixel cameras, full 180-degree cameras you can move from your phone and stuff like that. So it just depends on where technology goes. Will depend on what we do, but hopefully we're still doing the similar thing, and we're boosting up our numbers and supporting our customers.
I love it. So you just Victoria currently. I do see a couple of New South Wales inquiries that come through.
Yeah, we've got some, we do. We seem to get a lot from New South Wales. That's might be the next thing, is not the growth interstate.
Okay.
But for us, if we can team up with some other companies and maybe even help them out interstate that want to get a solar CCTV system off the ground, we can maybe help them with that and build up a bit of a partnership where we can send So we find New South Wales and WA, we get heaps of inquiries for.
Nice.
I think it's just there's not a lot of companies that are doing it. Victoria's got a lot.
Yeah.
The other states not so much. So if we can help any other companies out there to build up what we have here, then I'll be more happy to do that.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so we've gotten to the segment. We're coming to the end. I've started this new segment called Tech Tool of the Week. Then I asked the guest, what is their tech tool, the most used tech tool that they use, or their favourite, or you do not have to, you're not obliged to say Trade Magnet.
Well, at the moment, it's our most used. Like, if we turn that screen back on, our schedule's up there. That's easily Trade Magnet's our most used now, because it literally does it. It's used for everything. Yeah. So this probably sounds like a bit of a paid ad or something like that.
No. Seriously, you don't have to say Trade Magnet.
No,
I've seen your text messages. You've got about how many? 5 billion that you haven't read.
Oh yeah, there's.
Is there something filtering that or something?
Yeah, I need something. I need like an answering service. Yeah, don't ever text me, because it's I think there's like 1,700 or something unread text messages. I think my missed calls are probably around the maybe 800, 900 missed calls.
That's insane.
It's just really hard. Like, my phone's, I've got my watch on here, and I reckon there's probably 8 or 9 missed calls I've had just in the time we've been.
That's crazy.
It is very hard. People think, I think a lot, especially with the ranges alarm sort of stuff, because I still do that. I still on the tools, most days, 3 days a week, doing ranges alarm stuff.
Are you really?
Yeah, installing alarms, cameras, things like that. I was out there yesterday doing it. Back out there today doing it as well. So I think they don't understand that I actually have this whole another business that I'm doing as well. So when I miss their calls, they think I'm just, like a really unreliable tradie or something like that. But in reality, I'm usually on the phone or things like that. Like, when I'm on a phone call, especially if it's going for 5-10 minutes, I can miss 3 or 4 calls in that time. So I'm on the phone to recalling the first missed call back, and all of a sudden I've missed another 3 calls. So
Brutal.
it is it is very
Far
brutal.
out.
Yeah, no, it's it takes a lot. I don't know how many in your call log history, but it's quite often that I will however many numbers are in your call log history. Usually it would last a few days. It's common mine will last a day. I'll get that many calls.
Oh my God.
60 to 70 calls a day is not uncommon because at the end of the day, like the guys will be calling me to ask questions and things like that. Obviously Megan will be calling me for things, and then customers call me. Then there's the 1-300 calls as well. So there's a lot going on. So it's not just that I'm ignoring people's calls. It literally is that I just literally miss them. That's all it is.
Why don't I help you out with tech tools? So why don't we break down one of the features of Trade Magnet, because I know Megan likes this the most.
Yep.
Is the text messaging service inside of Trade Magnet. I know we had to iron out some wrinkles in the beginning. Not so many emojis.
Yeah, emojis there.
So we cut it down, super brief messaging, but it's automated, as well as you can just reply on the fly, whatever. So you've got customers, for instance, you might have an automated text message go out to them for their invoice, and they'll just text you straight back saying thank you very much or whatever it is. And
It has been really good from that. From the payment side of things, because it is all automated and the reminders are automated and stuff like that, like people forget. I do it myself. I've got to pay my rates. It's just that's what people do. You forget to pay bills.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't give you an automated text message. Hey, you pay your rates. They give you like a phone call and be like, hey, where's that money?
Hurry up.
Yeah, pretty much. So that is that's easily the best thing. We've noticed since we've released, and we've what's it been, maybe a month and a half, 2 months, where we've brought everything across to Trade Magnet 100%, all our customers, everything like that. We've had a lot more payments come through without having to follow up. And that was honestly the whole point behind it, because Megan was spending probably the best part of her week chasing up people for payments. And as I said, it's not, people aren't, just not paying you because, they're being rude or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's solely because they forget about it.
Yeah.
They forget about the email invoice. Yeah, I'll fix it up next week or whatever. Completely forget about it, understand. Whereas with Trade Magnet, because it sends reminders out, because it sends obviously the invoices out straight away, and people can pay it, click on a thing and boom, you can pay it straight away as well.
Yeah.
We're receiving payments a lot quicker now, almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
So it means that there's not that whole having to follow up for customers to get paid and stuff, which is great.
Yeah, I do. That's one of the best features. I mean, I use it in my own business, and often I'll see a payment come through and I went, what the hell did that even come from? I just sent the invoice 2 seconds ago.
It is crazy. Like I've got, because we use CommBank for the business side of things, and I love the CommBank app because it sends you a notification every time you get money. So it's
really?
so good. Literally every time someone pays you, it's like boom, ping. And that's how I gauge basically how many times notifications I get from CommBank. That's how I gauge how well it's going.
Yeah.
And since we've swapped over, the payments are a lot more. It's not like it's waiting to the end of the month now, whereas previously it was always like the end of the month is when it would happen. It's pretty much instantaneous, which is great. So certainly. So without obviously it's not a paid ad, nothing like that. Trade Magnet is by far our most used piece of technology that we have.
Awesome. All right, well, Jarryd, thank you very much for coming on to the podcast. You've been the second guest.
Excellent.
The first tradie guest.
That's good.
So thank you very much.
No worries, thanks for having me.
Righto, you legend. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Jarryd from Building Sites CCTV. If you want to get in touch with Jarryd and his team, just go to Google and search Building Sites CCTV. He's everywhere. Obviously, he knows how to do SEO. And if you are interested in being on the podcast, if you're a tradie and you think you've got a cool story, I would love to hear from you. So head on over to listmedia.com.au, go to the contact form, just fill in your inquiry and I'll get back to you. Righto, I say this every week, but I would love it if you were to follow or subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you're on. It really does help the algorithm. Plus, it makes me feel really fuzzy. No, it makes the podcast grow so I can get more awesome people onto this podcast and you can learn more stuff about tech. Also, share this with your mum. My name's David List. This has been the Digital Tradie. Until next time, keep creating some legendary content.